Yeah, guys, we are back. I don't know, 1 hour seems so less when you're talking to a course mate and a brother officer from the same regiment, and Albert being from 9. Albert is very humble, let me tell you. He does not speak much about operations. He will never let you know, he will never have those rugged kind of, feel, but he is a force multiplier in himself. Two can stay here. I'm just waiting whether he is joined or not. I don't know, but because there is lot more which I'm about to ask him about his journey in for in Khatron Ke Khiladi, D3 Commando, his latest entrepreneurship journey and all, and what it is there uh, about. Lot many people ask, can vegetarians can survive in SF forces? By there is nothing called vegetarians in life. Make it yourself. If it is about mockatarian, not vegetarian, mockatarian. You know, eat whatever you get to eat to survive. Don't think nobody will force you. If you don't want to, you don't eat. You know, I don't know, Albert. Come on, guys are waiting. But guys, I had pinned one question: multitasking. About multitasking, it is important. Multitasking, not in Forge and in life also, because it gives you a different niche. But being multitasking does not mean that you are jack of all trades, master of none. You are master of all the trades, and you are a multitasker also. So I'm just uh, good. You're back.
That
So
time.
I don't know whether I saved that thing or not. I'm just giving my gyan on your behalf. But I do remember in probation I did not get actively into communication part, but I remember I was taught very thoroughly about the Morse code, even the communication being done on the Morse code.
Survival. Huh?
Survival,
The
just
bare
just that.
basics. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The bare basics. Yeah.
We were left in the in somewhere in the ranges in Kupwara with our probation team and NCO and JCOs in the hills, and we were asked to do our navigation through, and just given a radio set, not even the map, and we were told, okay, if communicate, you have to communicate like this. Nothing about on everything on Morse code. So I remember that shit. But those were the old days, and so lot many people have been asking, and I think so Jacob has also touched upon, that comparing ourselves, our forces, RSF, whether it is 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, with other special forces of the world. Albert has already, we have seen that when it comes to world SF competitions and all, we beat them. What with miles, I will say that way. Nowhere, even our first, second, third teams are also. Our two teams always participate in these competitions, and both the teams are either first or second. The rest forget about the nation. So that speaks volumes about our forces, special forces, and our parachute regiment as a whole. But you did your tenure in the UN. So how was your experience, and what do you see? Ourselves as compared to the world forces, and I'll say being SF and otherwise, and how does the world look at us?
So, first and foremost, we are a nation of multiple cultural and language. What do you say? This is a lot. It's like a cocktail of all this, right? And
Correct.
majority of us come from very simple backgrounds and villages and stuff. We are very culturally sensitive. We care whether it's old people or children or women. That's the general thing. When you go to conflict zones, you will realize that most of the problems have to do with the very people who live there not being understood or respected or protected. We would touch our elderly people's feet, but in a conflict zone, you'll realize that things, the fundamental fabrics are broken down. And more often than not, our armed forces who have always been in conflict zones have set an example because of the cultural sensitivity and the respect that we have in hand. We do not treat things as if it is a conflict. We first go there and try to bridge. You look at all the examples, all the examples. We don't go there because we hold a gun, so we are mighty. No, we go there to start a relationship with them. We go there and we talk to them in a different way. And that sensitivity has proved very, very effective. And I am not naming the countries, but if you study conflicts in whether it's Iraq or Afghanistan, certain countries have completely and arrogantly stepped into the conflict zone without respecting the law of the land and the cultures of the land. And they have borne a lot of casualties. Certain matured armies who have operated there have first and foremost, before combat, have built a bridge between those people. When you respect the women, children, and the elders of that place, and you see them as yours, you have one half. And that is where Indian armed forces, whether it's Army, Navy, Air Force, wherever they are sent, they have this cultural sensitivity built into them, those value system built into them. When we go there, we don't see a problem. We try to find, we see a family in distress. And that has changed the way Indian Army, Air Force, and Navy has, wherever they have deployed, mostly Army is the one, deployed in these conflict zones, they have acted on these issues. And we are one of the largest troop contributors in UN, which is not a, it's a common thing that everybody knows. People respect us for these reasons. We bring resolution to the table. Yeah. There are times when certain other battalions have been moved because they could understand the cultural sensitivity. And there are places where women battalions completely have been deployed. And wherein, this is a very important topic to touch upon, because conflict zones where you'll find more of, the hardcore men and that kind of combatants. We had women combatants in conflict zones in Africa, wherein the woman's voice were heard because they could speak about their problems. So India is one such unique place. Now coming to the other aspect, this is about the perception. The other part which you're talking about is the professionalism and how do we fare with different people. Well, I'm a firm believer that all armed forces which are professional are good at their game. Now, maybe we want to point out a few things why we are different. To start with, we have learned to fight with lesser resources, number one. Foremost thing. We have certain values. If you look at the British system, how they've segregated the battalions into certain segments, okay. We take pride in winning. We take pride in winning from the fact that if I fail, mera pind mein pura pata chal jayega. That's the kind of approach that we have, right? It's not about me or my family. It's my people. So there is an additional sense of responsibility to every fighter who is part of the battle. Thirdly, yes, and we take it very personally. We take it very personally. From officers to to JCOs to other rank, everybody is so engraved in these values that they will give up their life, but they will never let that name come for their village or their family or themselves. So that's one thing. The third thing is India is uniquely blessed with some of the most hostile terrain in the world. We as soldiers get an experience with other people. If you take US Army, one of the most powerful army in the world, along with Russia and China, we becoming the fourth most largest forces in the world. They have temperature. Like you take Alaska, they have cold temperature. We just don't have temperature alone. We have even colder temperature, but we have a high altitude. So every soldier who fights in the Indian Armed Forces are exposed to some of the biggest battlegrounds. The third aspect, we deal with conflicts 365 days a year. Correct. That means any soldier who shoots at a target is great. Olympian shoots at a target but much better than a special force guy. Let me be honest. An Olympian can shoot at a target much better than a special forces commando. But the fact of the matter is, Olympian doesn't shoot at targets that shoot back under varied conditions. Correct. So our soldiers never get rest and they're constantly honing their skill. It's like a knife that is always sharp, never getting an opportunity to be blunt. The third thing, whatever the next number is we see things in a different way. Post-traumatic stress disorder syndrome is a common practice or a thought process that exists in modern armed forces. Let's not laugh about it. It's real for everybody who's seen combat or served in combat areas. Now, how are we different? And this is my take on it. I am not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a soldier. My take is that, hey, from our childhood, we have grown with things that is bare minimum. Just because we didn't get anything doesn't mean that you can't realize. We've grown in a different culture. Our soldiers fight every day, and we don't tell them, hey, see, it's like this. It's a funny situation. Let me just take a minute and explain this. You take people, bring them into a place, training ground, simple people, complicated people. You tell them you are a fighting machine. You are a killing machine. You are tough, and you make a soft guy into a tough person, and then you say you fear nothing. You can fight anything, and then you psychologically build them up here, and then you send them for a few months into combat and say, oh, you've been exposed to combat. Now you got to do rest and recoup and psychological, all that stuff. So you made him stronger here, or her stronger here, and you send them into combat and say, no. Now you need to come back to workshop. Every time you send them to workshop, you have built another thought process in them saying that, hey, I am strong, but the moment I get exposed to 1, 2, 3, I become weak. I need to come back to workshop and fix myself. And I don't think that's how soldiers should be built. Our soldiers are so tough that they can go on and on and on, and they can heal themselves. Now, a lot of people will jump and say, even in Indian Army, these things happen. Of course it happens. There is no exception. Nothing is 100% correct. But I'm talking about the majority of our soldiers. They are downright one of the craziest, the craziest.
Yeah, I know
guys
you
on the
won't be
planet.
taking. I know you won't be
Right?
taking that word. But yeah, it's really. By the way, just there is one person, Gundu. I am in conversation, and I know you have been putting up lot many queries about SSB and other stuff. We can take it offline, because I won't be able to catch Albert again, so easily, which I've been trying for long. So please bear with me if I'm not able to reply you or not able to take. I'm taking your name, but have a heart. I feel very sorry that I cannot do. But yeah, I do understand. So coming back to nine, coming back to paras, and though I know that. All the operations, when you are fully prepared, when you plan for it, when you do mock drills, when you are upskilling, when you are honing, there is nothing called peace, especially in battalions like yours and mine, whether it is any regiment within any battalion within our regiment. It's always being or training, upskilling, honing things, and visualizing things, and always trying to oversmart the opponent. That's how you survive. There are nothing called chance for us. But even after all those things, we have seen, maximum casualties from our regiments. If you see nine itself, nine has so many big names, which I think so are there. So, how did you handle, or how people in the regiment or in the battalion handle fear? What many people ask, don't you fear and all? I know I've got the answer. I've got the answer which I can tell people like you. But I wanted to hear from you. Because that.
Yeah. I believe this world is full of great people who has conquered a lot of stuff and done. I don't want to talk like whatever. I don't have fear. I have fear. I was scared of heights, and I'll be honest with you. I was scared
I
of
enjoyed
heights.
height.
I know I was scared of heights, and here I am, whatever, behind. Scared of water. Here I am, behind. The fact of the matter is, I think we need to learn to respect fear and not treat it as an external entity. If you don't have fear, you might end up doing something stupid. The men I walk with, extremely brave. Does that mean they don't have fear? No, that would be stupid to think, right? If you're sad, you will have joy. So fear is something that is such an integral part of our existence. I am happy to say I am afraid of things because I'm human. The difference is, what do I do with the fear? It's a tussle. I have to achieve something and everything rests on me, can I let fear overtake me to influence my decisions? No. I have responsibility. I have to execute a task. I serve a certain nation. I serve a flag. I walk with men who have done their bit. And I also uphold a legacy that is followed, paid in blood by my ancestors in my unit. So yes, your heart will pound, but it just doesn't jump out like a fish. It will
Yeah.
stay there.
Yeah,
Right?
there is this.
So
Yeah.
if somebody tells you they don't have fear, I think they're lying, brother, sister,
I
whoever
do
is on
remember
this call.
in academy we used to be told that Murphy's law, that I always don't be along with the person who says that I don't fear in any of the training, because you will be the first to get shot and
No,
discovered where you are.
because it would be a lie. Because see, fear. Often we think that we get into a fight, we have fear. We see death, we have fear. But fear can be much more deeper and meaningful than that. Fear can be very, very personal and have different facets and dimension. And I'm talking about whether it's fear of loneliness, fear of losing people. It can be a multi-dimension. But the only difference is whether
How you
you
handle it.
survive that, how you learn to respect fear. We are
Yeah.
people who walk just like me. I mean, my brothers and sisters who would have been served in uniform, and especially my brothers from nine, which I know, so I can talk about, walk every day with almost like death on their companionship. Like death is right there, right? You can't just you got to start loving it. You got to start having a conversation with it, right? You got to
Yeah.
say,
So
hey, it's part of life.
yeah.
Let's learn to be friends. Let's learn to each other.
You won't believe, Al. I always used to fear whether when the not even after probation, even when it was probation, even when I was in battalion, I always used to have that fear, not about heights, not about operation, not about being success, just that I should not let my men down. It was a fear for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I should not at a point let my men team down. And what I used to do, that fear always used to keep me upgrading, keep me, working hard towards myself, looking, intercepting, working, upgrading, and being at that notch that yes, I am prepared. Okay, shit will happen. Shit will happen.
Tagore, I can confess this to you. I had sort of a phobia that, this thing, sometimes it comes in your dream and stuff, that my weapon would jam. Like, I wanted to work and my weapon would jam. And that was an odd thing. It's like, one of those things that keep popping in your head. It's a fear. I mean,
Yeah.
listen,
Someone.
somebody tells you that they have no fear and all. I think it's gangoism. Like it's just too much, man.
Yeah.
Everybody has fear at
There
some point or the other.
there was a funny question.
Yeah.
There was a funny question that someone asked, and I want to. I know I won't be saying but I want to repeat in exact word what the question was. What Albert sir do if he see Masood Azhar is sitting in front of Albert sir? Boom, 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 boom.
Who's asked this question, man?
Uh, I'm sorry, I don't know the name, but this is a question in exact word. What Albert sir will do if he see Masood Azhar is sitting in front of Albert sir?
I think that's a very innocent question to start
Yeah.
with. I think people need to understand one thing. Uh, we in special forces are no people who have some certain personal agenda or something. We are all very professionals, right? We don't walk into a place holding certain. We are not sunkies who can lose our head beyond what is professionally required. For me, that question, since it might be important for the person who asks, so I want to respect that with all due respect to the person. I want to drive home a larger point. It's very easy to lose your focus and patience in combat because you hold a weapon, you need to be responsible. You're in places where you need to have split second decisions whom you're pulling the trigger on. That means an extreme control over your mind and emotions, the heart and soul. So if I were to see that gentleman, forget me, any of my brothers who would see that gentleman in my
Motherfucker.
unit,
Don't say gentleman, he's a motherfucker.
You
I know you are
understand
at
when I
home.
say,
I know you are at home. I know.
yeah,
So,
whoever it is, right? It doesn't
uh,
matter. So the point I'm trying to drive home is, Thakur, this. It depends on what I need to do with it.
correct.
If I have to sit and have a coffee with him to extract certain information, I would perhaps have sit him down and have a coffee with him. If the need of the hour from my mission is to whatever it is, I would go to any extent for it. So, and so
You
will
or
my
anyone
brother.
from
So
the
we are
battalion will go to that extent, I tell you.
absolutely, absolutely. And we are nobody who holds, we can control ourselves.
Yeah.
In ops, we are very professional. Uh, we stick, we stick to what a professional should be. We don't let our emotions, because that's dangerous. That's dangerous. We don't do that.
I do understand, Nana. And you being, if you will be there, so hypothetically, if you are there with Azhar, it itself is a purpose that you are there. मरेगा तो
Absolutely.
साला
I'm
साला मरेगा तो पक्का, but there is a purpose you being there, I will say.
absolutely.
कैसे
And
मरेगा, उस समय मरेगा, बाद में मरेगा, that will be bigger part of the plan.
it's one of those catchy questions, right?
Uh,
Tricky
no,
questions.
I
But
do
I want
agree. And
that bigger point to be driven home, that we have our head right here and our heart right here. We are not just going around and doing everything that we do has got extremely purpose driven from the highest authority this nation can pass on that, right? That's
yeah,
the purpose. We're not some wandering force on our own act.
yeah, yeah.
We're very,
We
very
are not
specific.
mercenaries. Yeah? We are not
Yeah, we're not.
mercenaries.
We're not.
We are not.
Hardcore
No, no.
professionals. That's the point.
A lot many people have asked me, and I think so. It's still going on. You being an SF, we are from the from the regiment and all. Why we left? Look, it is very personal for me. I don't know about Albert. I joined forces for 5 years. I wanted to join forces. Give my bit to my nation. That's why I joined. Short service commission, so that I had an option of leaving after 5 years. I could have that. Not many people say that joining SF gives you increases a chance of being getting a permanent commission. Like, yeah, Fauji Blood had asked, sir, joining SF and SS officer increases. Look, it is nothing about SF, para SF. If you are doing, professional, if you are doing well, if you are contributing, be it any arm, be it any foe, an SS officer will make through, permanent commission. It's nothing like that, SS. Even in whether it is in SF and all, it depends upon your own professionalism or your own commitment, dedication, what you bring onto the table. So there is nothing about being in SF. Everybody has got a chance to be there. I decided after 5 years that I have to serve 5 years and then I will move out. And that's why I joined OTA. I could have joined IMA also, that we have appeared for CDS if I would have wanted to extend. But and guys, you can extend if you want an SS officer who want to extend after 5 years. Now it is 10 years. If you want to go for 15 years, or if you want to take a PC, very well you can take it. But it was my personal decision, and I think so Albert had a personal decision for moving out.
Yeah, I had a personal
Correct,
decision.
Albert?
Absolutely, it was a
Yeah.
personal decision.
I won't be going into that because it's a very personal to you, and like it's very personal to me, and I also feel become uncomfortable when somebody asks me, and challenges me, yeah, then why you left and all. No, when I was there, I did my bit. I enjoyed, and whatever I am is because of forces only. Now I'll coming to quickly to fear factor. Something. Let's add some glamour, man. These guys. I hope people may have done research. He was there with Claudia. Claudia was your partner in Fear Factor. No,
No, Fair Factor was way before that. Claudia was in Wipeout with me.
Wipeout with you. Okay, Wipeout. In Fear Factor, who was there? So if
There
I'm
are a
not wrong,
bunch of
you also
Yana and all this.
in Wipeout, Dharam also in Wipeout, you also in Fear Factor, Dharam also in Fear Factor, you in Commando, D3 Commando. You guys are buddy. मेरा नंबर कब आएगा? मेरा नंबर कब आएगा?
Next time I make a show, I'll give you a call.
No. I'm just joking. But yeah, tell me how I do understand. Okay, I won't be touching upon Fear Factor. I won't be touching upon Wipeout because okay, you were participants and you were this teaming up with others. I want to understand about why D3 Commando. What was
Sure.
it? How did it happen? And how did you convince the producer and the directors about? I know that the direction of all the feeds were from you. That okay, this show will look like this.
So, bro, it was a time where I had an opportunity from UTV, and a few other colleagues from Endemol and other people, that the opportunity was to create a show. Now it was a very rough sketch to create a show. For me, it was personally an opportunity where I could pass on something, and pass on what? Pass on an experience. I know I cannot give people what, but I wanted to give them some flavor. The ones who could not, who are so passionate about it, who have worked hard their life, all through their life, might have not been fortunate to know that SSB happened or a CVS happened or whatever it may be. There were a lot of passionate people out there who wanted to have an experience out of this. When I rolled out the show along with UTV, it was quite unique. It was quite unique because till then people thought about a reality show as a reality show, which is sort of, you cook it up, you make it look tough, you make it look
Big Boss.
But it is all, I don't know about Big Boss, but I'm saying that majority of them is all scripted. That this is, and the camera, it looks very, and most of the people who came for when I was running D3, they were thinking the same. They're going to get glamour. But interestingly, the D3 was an entirely different format. D3 was all about giving people the experience. So it started from day one. We did recruitment all across the country. I had a great director, Arun Shish Kumar, amazing guy, who was also very enthusiastic. He was an amazing guy, so helpful. He was so, pro listening to my ideas. A great team. Couple of guys who were just wonderful, very passionate to the armed forces, the entire crew. There's so many that I can't even name. There's so many guys, the DOP, the production team. Everyone was just impeccable. And some had some Fauji backgrounds also, so kick-ass. It was a very great team. So we did recruitment all across, just like how our recruitment rallies would be. Physical test, then we had screening test. Then after the whole all India auditions were done, really tough stuff, then they realized that koi drama nahi hai, yahan pe really karna padega. That's when it started hitting people. But in spite of that, we had people, there were roadblocks out of stadiums. This is happening. So anyway, long story short, we took a selected few, took them to a certain place down south on the beach, ran a pre-camp where we gave it all. And we selected a handful and moved them to a camp which we had built. The art guys were amazing. They built an entire camp. They built on a hillock, and on a little tiny hillock on the beach. On top, they built the entire obstacle course. Oh, superb art guys, no? Very good guy. So the idea was, Thakur, one thing. Can I give something back? And it was amazing. So when I was running this project, I did need some help. So I reached out to Dharam and Kshitij. I said, yeah, guys, this is what I want to do. Can you be part of it? It'll be really helpful. And they were like, yeah, man, sure. So they came on board, and they allowed me to materialize this dream that I wanted to do.
Wow.
And UTV also great support.
And what I think so now into something again futuristic, artificial intelligence, being from honors in physics and hardworking networking kind of hardware networking into artificial intelligence, where your latest venture SAIG, Special Advisory and Intervention Group, is there. And I think why I'm bringing guys here, before we close on to the day, because there is something this L is doing, and if you are from those technical background and all, where you want to look for opportunities and know more about it, Albert is the right person to go for. So what is Albert SAIG doing, especially in artificial intelligence and other things?
So my life is all about special forces, and I've learned one thing, that some of the most capable people, small team, can achieve. The selected few can achieve a lot. So when I started business 10 years back, it was a different story. I was a Fauji who was trying to learn the civil ropes. But I quickly realized that all I need is high caliber people and cutting edge technology to materialize many things. So I brought the learnings of special forces. Our company is completely ingrained within the DNA of special forces. And what we do is we try to bring cutting edge technologies, whatever it may be, to address stakeholder level concerns, where most of the other risk consulting companies who follow a routine laid out norm sometimes wouldn't want to step across the board and say, yeah, I will help you till here, but not beyond that because it's a little complicated. We would go anywhere. We would solve those kind of problems. So I have always believed in that philosophy. You could train somebody to a certain level. And beyond that, when that person has reached superwoman, superman capability, you need some wings to give them to fly. And for me, that is technology. And cutting edge technology today in the world is AI, machine learning, deep learning also. So today I try to solve problems that is risk related, from counter-terrorism to corporate risk to intelligence and crisis management, from a perspective where thousands of people could sit and watch what is happening and deduce from it. Instead of that, very few selected ultra smart people can train the machine. It's like a knowledge passing on. It's like you have children who would learn from the best, or a teacher teaches the best of the select the best students and teach them. It's a force multiplier application. So we always look for people who are.
Can people join your organization?
Yeah. People who are little cuckoo and who have such a drive, who are not the people who follow. Acha, wo karna hai, aisa karna hai. We want people who are thinking different, because we do mandates that are different, where others don't touch. Where baki bade company wahan pe chhod dete hai, this is all we do. Beyond that, that's what we do.
So you are the civil world special forces.
That's our idea, right? We are trying to bring the same learning and same sort of approach. If you look at special forces, it is always served the highest battle commanders. Now you take it to the corporate, you are talking about the highest stakeholders need a specialized team with high power skill sets. And that's the philosophy that we live in. It's a replication of that world.
Nah, I do agree. And guys, just watch out that space. Even you can connect with L if you are from the technological, if you have got that kink in you, or wo keeda hai, or where you think that, you know, the world, the well established, the old school, old ways, or learning a periodic table way is not your cup of tea. You know, I think so you will fit in the misfits of what L is trying to build on, and hope you guys also get there. So, any catchy lines for you? What you follow before I say come close? You know, and why?
Thakur, just a quick one. I think you told me something, and I just want to just say that I echo the same thing. It's just a little different way. If you're not living on the edge, you're wasting space. That's something I believe. Somebody had asked me one thing that, you know, as a teenager, how you stay ahead of the curve to be part of all this. I think the sign off is that, guys, there are certain things that is almost like tapasya.
Correct.
I just want to say that don't lie to yourself that you like something or you want to be something because it looks cool. If you can get it in here, all of you right here, ladies and gentlemen, you will be there. You will be there. And the world will always beat you down. They will kick your face. But if you are a winner, then owe it to yourself to fight for it at least. That's all that I gotta say. Don't let the world tell you anything. Stay focused and stay respectful. As a youth, stay respectful. Stay loving, stay caring, and have an immense amount of religious tolerance. Say nonsense, say no to all this nonsense that is going around here, which is deviating from what you should be. Be a better human being. If you cannot be a better human being, there is nothing else you can achieve.
Yeah, I do agree, and that's what is difference. I've never felt, anything about whether it was caste, community, religion, nationalist. Every day was for me Independence Day. Every day was for me Republic Day. I never celebrated that way, and I never ever realized that my unit have all the troops and all, and I think so. That's why we were a right fit in those misfits, and guys. You will get your equal share. There is nothing to prove about nationalism. I can sip my beer even, if things are, people are fighting for whatever cause they want. But I won't move my ass out. Don't worry. My nation, my way of nationalism is very different, and I sure it very echoes very much same with Albert's way of nationalism. and that's why we laugh around and having our drag or whatever you want to say and music. But I hope you enjoyed. And you can reach Albert on his handle. Otherwise, you can search for him. You can see, connect with him personally. He is also based out of Mumbai. I am also based out of Mumbai. But it was amazing, Albert, talking to you. And this was first time where we were sober when we were talking.
I know.
है ना? बात तो बहुत की है, लेकिन it was, we started 10 something in night. And
Are you sober? Are you sober?
ना 10 बजे शुरू करते हैं रात में, और 4-5 बजे 6 बजे तक घर पहुंचते हैं कैसे पता नहीं, I don't know, but it was an amazing session. Al, thanks for
Thank you,
being here.
Kapil.
I'm looking forward for you to coming back to Mumbai soon. And guys, next be connected. I'm trying to bring someone again very special from the regiment. If not from regiment, then somebody will be there to inspire again. But there are many people, as I told in the beginning also, Dharam is there, Vijay sir is there, Romil sir is there, and many are there who are giving these live sessions. Do attend if you want to take nuggets. Don't be very specific कि क्या सीख के जाना है, क्या लेके जाना है.
Thakur, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm sure I get a lot of questions. I apologize in advance that there's a lot that goes around in my life with my company and other activities, so I might delay in responding to you. But the fact is that I request all of you to ask genuine questions, because it might not be possible for me to answer many things. Many things can be found out by you yourself, seeking knowledge from online sources that is out there, which is legitimate. Things that is beyond your comprehension on those legitimate platforms, do reach out to people like us, and we can definitely give you the right answer.
Done.
Okay?
With that,
thank you.
Bye.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah,
Cheers,
bye.
brother.
Thanks.
Take care. God bless. Bye-bye. Happy landing.